You followed every rule and still ended up with nothing. Think about that. You did what they told you. You stayed quiet when they said be quiet. You worked hard when they said work hard. You waited your turn like a good soldier in a war you never chose. And what did you get? Exhaustion. Confusion. A life that feels smaller than the one you were promised. So tell me, was it you or was it all a lie? Because I've seen this before. Not once, not twice, but in every man who wakes up one day and realizes he's been walking in circles inside a cage he couldn't even see. They told you it was freedom, but it felt like chains. Chains made of expectations. Chains made of fear. Chains made of rules designed not to elevate you, but to contain you. And the worst part, you thank them for it. You call it security. You call it stability. You call it the right path. No. It was a leash. A quiet one. A polite one. But a leash, nonetheless. They didn't teach you how to win. They taught you how to obey. Sit down. Be realistic. Don't take risks. Don't dream too big. Don't step out of line. And you listened, of course you did. Because the voices that told you this, they sounded like they cared. Your teachers, your parents, your environment. They didn't look like enemies. They looked like protection. But understand this. Not every cage is built by hatred. Some are built by fear. Fear passed down from people who never escaped their own. They weren't trying to destroy you. They were trying to make you safe. But safety is the most dangerous prison of all, because it doesn't feel like a prison. It feels like comfort. And comfort kills slowly. You don't notice it at first. You don't feel the weight of it crushing you. It's subtle. It's waking up every day with just enough hope to keep going, but never enough fire to break free. It's telling yourself this is fine, while something inside you whispers this isn't it, but you ignore that voice. You drown it in routine. You bury it under responsibilities. You silence it with distractions until one day it stops whispering. And that's when you become like the rest. Predictable, controllable, replaceable. You weren't meant to escape. You were meant to serve. Serve the system. Serve the expectations. Serve a life that was designed long before you ever questioned it. And if you followed it perfectly, you'd be rewarded. That's what they told you, right? Work hard, stay consistent, be patient, and success will come. But look around. How many people did exactly that and still ended up with nothing but regret? How many gave their entire lives only to realize they were building someone else's dream? They sold you a formula, a simple one. Work equals reward. But they forgot to mention something. Work only rewards those who control the system. Everyone else, they just keep the machine running. You were never told to question the machine. You were told to become a part of it. A gear, a number, a function, efficient, replaceable, silent. And if you ever dared to step out, if you ever dared to question, they had words ready for you. Be realistic, don't be stupid. People like us don't do that. People like us. You hear that? They didn't just limit your actions. They limited your identity. They told you who you are before you ever had the chance to decide. And you believed them, not because you were weak, but because you were never shown another way. You were trained, conditioned, programmed, like a system running code written by someone else. And every time you tried to break it, fear pulled you back. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of losing everything you were told mattered. So you stayed. You adapted, you survived. But survival was never the goal. They just made you believe it was. Look at yourself. Look at the life you've built. Is this freedom? Or is this a carefully constructed illusion designed to keep you exactly where you are? Because here's the truth they'll never say out loud. If you truly understood how the game works, you wouldn't play it the way they taught you. You wouldn't trade your time so cheaply. You wouldn't follow rules that don't serve you. You wouldn't wait for permission to become something more. You would question everything. And that's what they fear. Not your failure, your awareness. Because the moment you see the system for what it is, you stop being controlled by it. The moment you realize the rules were never designed for your success, you stop worshiping them. And the moment you understand that you didn't lose, you were led, you were shaped, directed, confined, not by accident, but by design. That quiet anger you feel right now, that discomfort, that tension building in your chest, good. That means something inside you is waking up. Because deep down, you've always known something wasn't right. Something didn't add up. You gave your effort, your time, your energy, and the return was never equal. So ask yourself again, was it you or was it all a lie? Because once you see it, once you truly see it, you can't go back. The illusion breaks, the change becomes visible. And when that happens, you have two choices. Go back to sleep and live the life they designed for you, or stay awake and become something they never prepared for. The moment you sold your time, you sold your freedom. Read that again. Feel it. Because this is where it all began to fall apart. Not when you failed, not when you lost money, not when life hit you. No, it began the moment you agreed to trade your life by the hour. You thought it was normal. You thought it was necessary. You thought it was the only way. That's what they told you. Work, earn, repeat, work, earn, repeat. A cycle so clean, so simple, it almost feels right. But look closer. Look at what you're actually doing. You wake up not because you want to, but because you have to. You move, not with purpose, but with pressure. You give your energy, your focus, your time. For what? A number. A number someone else decided. A number that never matches your worth. A number that keeps you alive, but never lets you live. And you accepted it. You accepted a system where your value is measured, not by what you create, but by how long you can endure. Hours, days, years, your life, sliced into pieces and sold back to you in small payments. Tell me, does that sound like freedom? Or does it sound like a contract you never truly read? There are two worlds, two paths, and most people never realize they exist. The first world is the world of workers. They trade time for money. They follow instructions. They survive. They wake up tired. They come home empty. They repeat, not because they want to, but because they believe they have no choice. And then there's the second world, the world of creators. They don't sell time, they build systems. They create something that works, even when they don't. They think differently, they move differently, they live differently. And the gap between these two worlds is not talent, it's not intelligence, it's a decision. A dangerous one. Because choosing the second path means letting go of everything that feels safe. And safety is where most people die slowly. Look at your routine, be honest, it's the same day, repeated, different day. Same action, same thoughts, same exhaustion. You call it discipline, but is it? Or is it just programmed behavior? Wake up, work, eat, sleep, wake up, work, eat, sleep, again, again, again. Like a clock that never questions why it keeps ticking. Time moves forward, but you don't. You stay in place, a prisoner of consistency without progress. And the worst part, you start to defend it. I have responsibilities, I have bills, I have no choice. No, listen carefully. You always had a choice. You just didn't like the cost of a different one. Because stepping out of this cycle means uncertainty. It means risk. It means fear. And fear is powerful. Powerful enough to convince you that your cage is actually protection. So you stay. You stay where it's predictable. You stay where it's controlled. You stay where it's slowly draining everything out of you. But at least it feels stable. At least it feels familiar. And that's how the trap works. It doesn't trap you with pain. It traps you with comfort. A soft prison. A quiet prison. A prison where you don't even realize you're serving a sentence. You're not building wealth. You're renting survival. Think about that. Every hour you work is just enough to keep you going until the next hour. You're not moving forward. You're staying afloat. Barely. And they designed it that way. They pay you just enough to stay. Never enough to escape. Because the moment you have enough to think, you might start asking questions. Dangerous questions like, why am I doing this? Who benefits from this? What would happen if I stop? And they can't have that. So they keep you busy. Tired, distracted, occupied. Because a tired mind doesn't rebel. A tired mind obeys. And you've been tired for a long time, haven't you? But now something inside you is resisting. I can feel it. That voice in your head saying, but I have no choice. Say it. Go ahead. Say it louder. I have no choice. Good. Now listen to me carefully. No, you chose comfort over control. You chose predictability over power. You chose safety over freedom. And I'm not saying it to break you. I'm saying it because it's the truth. And truth doesn't care about your feelings. It only cares about waking you up. Because the moment you accept that it was a choice, you take your power back. The moment you stop blaming the system, you stop being controlled by it. You don't own your time. And if you don't own your time, you own nothing. Not your future, not your energy, not your life. Nothing. You're simply borrowing existence, one paycheck at a time. And one day, you'll wake up. Older, slower, tired in a way that sleep can't fix. And you'll realize you spent your entire life working, but never actually building anything. That is the cost. That is the price of this mistake. Not failure, not pain, but regret. A deep, silent regret that echoes louder than anything else. But here's the part they don't want you to hear. You can stop. Not instantly, not easily, but intentionally. You can start thinking differently. You can start asking better questions. You can start shifting from selling time to building value. Because the moment you stop trading hours and start creating systems, everything changes. Slowly at first. Then all at once, the fear will still be there. The doubt will still be there. But so will something else. Control. And control is where power begins. So look at yourself. Not who you pretend to be, but who you are right now. Are you building a life? Or are you just maintaining one? Are you creating something? Or are you just surviving? Because you can't do both forever. At some point, you will have to choose. And when that moment comes, remember this. They built a system to keep you working, not to make you free. So if you want freedom, you'll have to break the pattern. You'll have to think differently, move differently, decide differently. Because no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you control. You either take it or you spend your life renting it. So choose. Stay where it's comfortable or step into something uncertain and finally start living on your terms. Because the clock is still ticking. And every second you hesitate is another second you'll never get back. Another idea, another plan, another beginning that never became anything. Tell me, how many times have you started and how many times have you actually finished? Be honest. Because this is where most people lie to themselves. They call it ambition. They call it hustle. They call it figuring things out. But I see it for what it is. Chaos, disguised as progress. You jump from one opportunity to another, like a starving man chasing shadows. This business, that trend, this skill, that shortcut, always moving, never arriving. And every time you start something new, you feel it. That rush, that excitement, that illusion of momentum. But it fades, it always fades. Because you're not addicted to success. You're addicted to starting. Starting feels powerful. Starting feels like change. But starting is easy. Finishing is where most people break. Because finishing requires something you've been avoiding. Discipline, focus, commitment to one path, even when it stops being exciting. And that's where you fail. Not because you're incapable, but because you refuse to stay. You refuse to sit in the discomfort long enough for something real to grow. So you run. You run to the next idea, the next opportunity, the next promise of fast results. And every time you run, you reset your progress back to zero. Again, and again, and again. Years pass like this, and you wonder why nothing sticks. You wonder why success feels close, but never yours. It's simple. You're everywhere and nowhere at the same time. You've spread yourself so thin, there's nothing left with depth. You don't lack potential, you lack direction. Look at the ones who win, the ones who dominate. Do you think they chased everything? No. They chose one thing, one path, one skill, one obsession, and they stayed. When it got boring, they stayed. When it got hard, they stayed. When it stopped rewarding them, they stayed. While everyone else was jumping ship, they were digging deeper. That's the difference. That's the line between noise and power. Because opportunity without focus is just noise. Loud, distracting, useless. And you've been drowning in it, scrolling, watching, comparing. Maybe I should try this, maybe this is better, maybe I'm missing out. You are, but not on opportunities, you're missing out. On mastery. Because mastery demands sacrifice. It demands that you ignore almost everything. And that terrifies you. Because what if you choose wrong? What if you commit and it doesn't work? What if you waste time? Listen carefully. You are already wasting time. Not by choosing wrong, but by refusing to choose at all. Indecision is the real failure. Not mistakes, not losses. Indecision. Because a wrong path can be corrected, but no path, that leads nowhere. You want money? You want power? You want control? Then stop behaving like someone who is afraid to commit. Stop acting like every option deserves your attention. It doesn't. Most things are distractions designed to keep you busy while someone else gets ahead. So decide, pick a direction, not 10, not 5, 1, and once you choose, close the door on everything else. No backup plans, no constant switching, no running when it gets uncomfortable. You stay, you build, you refine, you improve day after day. Even when it feels like nothing is happening. Because something is happening, you just don't see it yet. Growth is silent at first, invisible. It happens beneath the surface, while impatient people quit, right before it starts to show. You've done that before, haven't you? You were close, closer than you think, but you left for something new, something easier, something more exciting, and now you're back at the beginning again. Let me make this clear. The man who chases 10 rabbits catches none, but the one who hunts a single lion becomes something else entirely. Focus. Dangerous, unstoppable. Focus isn't limiting, it's lethal. It cuts through distraction. It eliminates weakness. It forces you to grow, whether you like it or not. Because when there is only one path, there is no escape. No excuses, no alternatives to hide behind, only progress or failure. And failure teaches faster than anything else. So kill the distractions. Kill the endless searching. Kill the version of you that needs constant novelty to feel alive. Because that version of you will never succeed. It will only keep starting and starting and starting until there's no time left to finish. Look at your life right now. How many unfinished paths are behind you? How many half-built ideas, half-learned skills, half-committed attempts? That's not experience. That's scattered effort. And scattered effort produces scattered results. You don't need more ideas. You need more execution. You don't need more options. You need more commitment. You don't need more motivation. You need more discipline. So here's what you do. You choose one thing, one path that has potential, and you commit to it. Longer than feels comfortable. Longer than feels exciting. Longer than you've ever committed to anything before. You ignore everything else. You silence the noise. You stop looking for shortcuts. And you build slowly, relentlessly, until it works. Because it will. Not because it's easy, but because most people won't last long enough to see it through. But you will, if you decide to. So decide right now. Will you keep chasing everything, or will you finally choose something and become unstoppable at it? Because the moment you focus, the moment you eliminate distraction, the moment you commit without escape, you stop being average, you stop being scattered, you become precise. And precision is what turns effort into power. You want it to be seen, admitted, not respected, not powerful, seen. You wanted eyes on you, approval, validation. So the moment money touched your hands, you didn't build with it, you performed. A new watch, a better car, clothes that speak louder than your results ever did. And for a moment, it felt good, didn't it? People noticed, people reacted, people looked, and you mistook attention for respect. That was your mistake. Because attention is cheap. Anyone can buy it, anyone can fake it. But respect is silent, invisible, earned in places no one is watching. And you traded that for a temporary illusion. You didn't build wealth, you built an image, a costume, a version of yourself designed to impress people who aren't even thinking about you. Read that again. They aren't thinking about you. Not the way you think. They see you for a moment, they judge you for a second, and then they move on with their lives. But you stay stuck, paying for that image, maintaining that illusion, chasing a standard that keeps moving further away. Because once you start performing, you can't stop. You have to keep upgrading the act. Better car, better watch, better lifestyle. Not because you need it, but because now you've made a promise, a silent one, to keep proving something to people who never asked. And that promise will destroy you. Slowly, quietly, completely. Because every time you spend to look successful, you move further away from actually becoming successful. Let me ask you something. Why do you need others to see your success? Why does it matter? Is it because you don't feel it yourself? Is it because deep down you know it's not real yet? So you decorate the outside, hoping it will fix the inside? But it doesn't, it never does. Because real wealth is invisible. It doesn't scream. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need validation. It moves quietly. It grows in silence. It builds power behind closed doors. While you're busy trying to look rich, someone else is becoming rich. And you won't even notice them because they don't need you to. That's the difference. You want to be seen. They want to be free. And freedom doesn't care how you look. It cares what you control, what you own, what you've built that continues to grow, even when no one is watching. But you ignored that. You chose the fast reward, the visible reward. You paused, and now you're stuck in a cycle. Earn, spend, impress, repeat, earn, spend, impress. Repeat, a loop that feels like progress, but leads nowhere because nothing is compounding, nothing is growing, nothing is being built. You're just maintaining an illusion, and illusions eventually collapse, always, because they have no foundation, no structure, no depth, just appearance, and appearance fades quickly. You want to know the truth? The harsh one? No one is impressed for long. Not by your car, not by your clothes, not by your lifestyle. Because there's always someone with more, someone louder, someone flashier, someone more extreme. So you keep chasing, trying to keep up, trying to stay relevant, trying to prove that you've made it, but you haven't. You've just become a better actor. And the cost of that performance? Everything. Your money, your focus, your future. Because instead of investing, you're consuming. Instead of building, you're displaying. Instead of growing, you're pretending. And pretending is expensive. More expensive than failure. Because at least failure teaches you something. Pretending, it traps you in a lie. A comfortable one, a convincing one, but still a lie. So stop. Stop buying things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people who don't care. Stop feeding your ego at the cost of your future. Stop confusing attention with power, because they are not the same, not even close. Power is quiet. Power is controlled. Power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. It is felt. And once you have it, you don't need to prove anything. Not to them, not to anyone. Because you'll know. You'll feel it in the way you think, in the way you move, in the way you no longer seek validation from the outside world. But to get there, you have to let go. Let go of the need to be seen. Let go of the need to impress. Let go of the version of you that performs for approval. Because that version will never build anything real. It will only consume, only chase, only pretend. And you are not here to pretend. You are here to build, to grow, to create something that outlives your need for validation. So the next time money touches your hands, don't ask, what can I buy? Ask, what can I build? What can I multiply? What can I turn into something greater? Because money is not a reward, it's a tool. And tools are meant to be used, not displayed. Used to create, used to expand, used to gain control. And the moment you understand that, everything changes. The way you spend, the way you think, the way you move. You stop chasing status and start building power. You stop performing for others and start investing in yourself. You stop looking rich and start becoming rich. Quietly, relentlessly, unseen, until one day they look at you again, not with curiosity, but with confusion, because they won't understand how you built something so real without ever trying to show it, and that's when you'll know. You've escaped the illusion. You stepped out of performance. And finally, you started playing the real game. It didn't come from your enemies. That's the part that breaks you. It didn't come from strangers, not from rivals, not from people who wanted to see you fail. No, it came from someone close, someone you trusted, someone you believed in, someone you never thought would turn. And they did, quietly, cleanly, without warning. One moment they were beside you. The next, they were the reason everything fell apart. Your time, your money, your energy, gone. Not taken by force, given by you. That's what makes it worse. You didn't get robbed. You opened the door. You handed over access. You shared your vision. You believed in their words more than their actions. And when it collapsed, you didn't just lose money. You lost something deeper. Trust, not just in them, in yourself. You started questioning everything. How did I not see it? How did I let this happen? Was I blind or just naive? Listen carefully. You weren't weak, you were unguarded. And there's a difference. Because weakness can be fixed, but being unguarded, that's a choice. A dangerous one. You thought trust was simple. If someone smiles, they're good. If someone speaks well, they're honest. If someone is close, they're loyal. That's what you believe. That's what most people believe. And that's exactly why most people lose. Because trust is not built on words. It's not built on time. And it's definitely not built on emotion. Trust is built on evidence, cold, clear, unquestionable evidence. But you didn't look for that. You looked for comfort. You wanted to believe. So you ignored the signs, the small inconsistencies, the subtle red flags, the things that didn't feel right, but you brushed aside because doubt felt uncomfortable and trust felt easier. So you chose easy. And easy cost you everything. Understand this. In business, in money, in power, trust is not a virtue. It's a risk. And every risk must be calculated, measured, controlled. But you didn't calculate. You assumed. You assumed loyalty. You assumed honesty. You assumed alignment. And assumptions are where most people get destroyed because the world doesn't reward assumptions. It punishes them silently, ruthlessly. You think betrayal is rare? No. Betrayal is predictable. It follows patterns. It hides behind charm. It wears the face of familiarity. It speaks in a tone that feels safe. And that's why it works. Because you don't expect danger from what feels familiar. But the truth is, the closer they stand, the deeper they can cut. Distance protects you. Closeness exposes you. And you gave them closeness. Without proof, without testing, without ever seeing who they really are under pressure. You trusted their words in comfort, but never watched their actions in chaos. And that's where people reveal themselves. Not when things are easy, but when there's something to lose. That's when loyalty is tested. That's when character is exposed. That's when truth shows itself without disguise. But by then, it was too late for you because you had already given them access. Access to your money, access to your plans, access to your future. And once someone has access, they have power. Power to help you or power to destroy you. And you gave that power away too easily, too quickly, too blindly. So now you stand here, wiser, colder, more aware. And maybe part of you hates that because you don't want to become suspicious. You don't want to question everyone. You don't want to live in doubt. But let me tell you something. Blind trust is not kindness. It's negligence. And negligence has consequences. So no, I'm not telling you to trust no one. I'm telling you to trust differently, to trust slowly, to trust strategically, to trust with your eyes open, not your emotions leading the way. Watch people, really watch them, not what they say, what they do, how they move when no one is watching, how they act when there's nothing to gain, how they respond when things go wrong, because patterns don't lie. People do. And if you pay attention long enough, you'll see the truth. Always. Verify everything, every agreement, every deal, every promise. Put it in writing. Make it clear. Remove the room for interpretation. You think they felt ready? No. They felt the same fear you feel. The same doubt. The same uncertainty. The difference is they didn't let it stop them. They moved with it. You're waiting for it to disappear. And it never will. Fear doesn't go away. You either act in spite of it, or you spend your life controlled by it. There is no third option. You tell yourself, I just need more time. No, you don't need more time. You need more courage. Because time is already giving you everything you needed. You've learned enough, you've seen enough, you've thought about it long enough. What you lack is the willingness to step forward without guarantees. And that's where most people fail. They want certainty. They want a clear path. They want reassurance that everything will work out. But the world doesn't work like that. It never has. There is no perfect moment, no perfect plan, no perfect version of you that suddenly appears, ready to conquer everything. That's a fantasy, a comfortable lie. That keeps you exactly where you are. Because as long as you believe you're not ready, you never have to test yourself, you never have to risk failure, you never have to confront reality. But reality is simple, brutal, but simple. If you don't move, you don't grow. If you don't risk, you don't gain. If you don't act, you don't become. That's it, no exceptions, no shortcuts, no alternative paths. And while you sit there, waiting for permission, someone else is taking it. They're not asking. They're not hesitating. They're not overthinking every step. They're moving fast, messy, imperfect, but forward. And every step they take puts them further ahead of you, not because they're smarter, but because they're braver, because they understand something you've been avoiding. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. You don't think your way into success. You move your way into it. You try. You fail. You adjust. And through that process, you become sharper, stronger, more capable. But you can't skip that process. You can't think your way around it. You have to go through it. And that's what scares you. Because going through it means losing control. It means stepping into uncertainty. It means accepting that you might fail. But listen to me carefully. Failure is not what you should fear. Waiting is. Because failure teaches. Failure builds. Failure moves you forward. Waiting keeps you exactly where you are. Stuck. Frozen. Watching life pass you by. While you convince yourself you're being patient. You're not being patient, you're being passive. And passivity is the quietest way to destroy your future. You don't notice it at first because nothing dramatic happens. No sudden collapse, no immediate consequences, just time slipping away. Day by day, opportunity by opportunity, until one day you look back and realize you had the chance, you had the ideas, you had the potential. You just never acted on it. And that realization is heavier than failure will ever be. So stop waiting. Stop asking for permission. Stop looking for certainty in a world that guarantees nothing. Because no one is coming to tell you, now is your moment. The market won't say it, people won't say it, life won't say it. You decide that, you create that, you take that, or you lose it. Those are your options. Nothing more. Nothing less. So make the move. Before you feel ready, before it's perfect, before your mind convinces you to wait again. Start. Messy, imperfect, uncertain. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you move. Because once you move, everything changes. Clarity comes, confidence builds, momentum grows. But none of that happens until you take the first step. So take it right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when it feels right. Now. Because every second you delay is another second someone else uses to take your place. And one day, if you keep waiting, you won't just miss the opportunity. You'll become the person who watched it happen and did nothing. So decide, will you keep waiting or will you finally act? And take what was always yours to begin with. Listen carefully. You are no longer the one who reacts. You are no longer the one who waits, hopes, begs. That version of you died a long time ago. And what remains is something far more dangerous, something deliberate, something controlled. You used to chase outcomes. You used to chase validation. You used to chase people, approval, permission. But that was before. Before you understood. Before you saw the truth. Now, you don't chase anything. You don't move like a desperate man anymore. You move like a strategist. Every step calculated, every breath intentional, every decision aligned with power. Because power is not loud, power is silent, power does not scream. Power watches, waits, and strikes when it matters. They will not see you coming. Because you are no longer visible in the way they understand. You are no longer part of their system. You are the one who studies the system, learns its rules, and then breaks them. You don't compete. You don't compare. You don't ask why them. You ask, how do I control this? That is the shift. That is the transformation. You are no longer emotional about outcomes. You are strategic about results. Let the weak attach feelings to failure. You attach lessons, leverage, advantage. You don't break under pressure. You refine under it. You don't panic when things collapse. You adapt, you evolve, you rebuild stronger. That is why they cannot touch you, because they are predictable. And you are not. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are not waiting to be seen. You're not waiting to be validated. You have already chosen yourself. And that decision alone, that alone makes you untouchable. You don't need applause. You don't need recognition. You don't need anyone to believe in you. Because belief is not your fuel anymore. Discipline is. Execution is. Consistency is. You don't speak about your plans. You execute them. You don't announce your moves. You make them. Quietly. Relentlessly. Until the results speak louder than words ever could. You are no longer seeking comfort. You are building control. Control over your time. Control over your energy. Control over your outcome. Because when you control those, you control everything. You don't adapt to the world anymore. The world starts adjusting to you. You don't beg for opportunities. You create conditions where opportunities are forced to come to you. This is the final form. Cold. Focused. Unshakable. Untouchable. And once you reach this level, there is no going back. Now listen. This is the moment. Right here. Right now. No more hiding behind excuses. No more waiting for the right time. No more pretending that tomorrow will save you. It won't. Now the truth is in your hands. And you cannot escape it. You either decide or you stay the same. That's it. There is no third option. You already know what you need to do. You've known it for a long time. But knowing is not the problem. Doing is. Execution is where everything changes. And execution is where most people fail. Because it demands sacrifice. It demands discipline. It demands that you become someone different, someone stronger, someone colder, someone relentless. So now the question is simple. Will you act, or will you remain exactly where you are? Because 1 year from now, you will be standing somewhere, either in a position you fought for, or in the same place you refused to leave. And when that moment comes, you will either remember this decision or regret ignoring it. There is no middle ground. There is no hiding from time. Time will reveal everything. Every choice, every delay, every excuse, and every action. So choose now, not later. Now, because this is your final command. No more excuses. No more delays. No more hesitation. Move, execute, become. And when they look back and ask you, when did you change? You will not smile. You will not hesitate. You will not explain. You will simply say, I didn't change. I revealed who I was all along.